Hi, welcome to Historical Cooking Adventures, and I'm Pete. As you saw in the last episode, our correspondent Belinda has pulled Brad Manera aside for that interview. She's also pulled another member aside from the 73rd Regiment of Foot, Nat Barbuto. He's also known to play Dutch Musketeer for the 30-Year War reenactment. He's also played a soldier in the 1860s War, American Civil War, and he's also done the 40th Regiment of Foot, which is a soldier during the Australian Gold Rush era during the Eureka Stockade. Here's his interview.
Reenacting, so what is it, 22 now, so I probably started 20 with the 73rd and probably 5 years with the 15th Louisiana. Sydney. Yeah. As a youngster, I always had a fascination with the American Civil War, and I went to a hobby show at Parramatta Town Hall, and there was these 4 or 5 blokes walking around dressed up in Confederate uniforms. So I asked them what they were doing, and they explained what they were, and I joined up. Then I had to go out and get the gear and muskets, and because at that stage I was one of the people that sincerely believed people in the city don't need guns, but I've realised now for reenacting to portray history, you do need some sort of weapons of the period, otherwise people just don't understand it. The uniform, one of the blokes in the club, he was a very big reenactor in lots of other things. I just bought some blankets, dyed them, and he made me a Confederate uniform, jacket, trousers. That days you could buy good all leather boots, ex-Navy boots from the disposal stores. Shaker, somebody already had them, so I got it all off him, and I had a brown sort of outfit because the Confederates had a brown colour uniform which they called butternut. When they ran out of dyes to dye their uniforms grey, they used pumpkins and peanuts and stuff like that. Well, we used modern dyes. we cheated. First event with that group, we went to a property up in Hornsby Way and set up a camp and a tent. We used to drill out the front of Parramatta Park, old government house there, and there used to be a train line that used to run through, a historic one just on the top of the hill there at Parramatta. It burned down, but we had photos from there, and then we done a couple of shows up at Old Sydney Town as convicts, dressed up in convict gear. They were doing the Vinegar Hill uprisings, so we done some up there and stayed up in Old Sydney Town. And eventually the fellow that was organising it, he wanted to do 17th AIF. He had an uncle or something in it, and then the 73rd was starting up, so the Parramatta Militia decided they'd start up the 73rd Regiment of Foot, which was a regiment that landed with Governor Macquarie in 1810, and they picked that regiment because there was more information at the time on uniforms and stuff like that than what was on the New South Wales Corps. And he asked if I wanted to join that, the bloke from the Civil War, and I said, I can't afford. You have to get a different type of musket, you've got to get a new uniform. And he said, they'll let you pay it off. And I said, oh, righto. So I've been with that ever since, over 22 years now with the 73rd. They keep my gun licence going, and we still do a bit of all these other things within our club now, Civil War, World War Ones, 1630s, Dutch militia. It's favourite weapon, well, I had to go to a brown bess musket, which I managed to get just before because of Port Arthur, they were tightening up the gun laws. So I managed to get a brown bess. It's not a bad weapon, it's not as good as the Civil War type musket, because it doesn't work, and it's been going well for 20 odd years type of thing, but it's not my favourite. But My backpack went to Waterloo. When the club was going to Waterloo, we'd been doing lots of shows with the Governor of New South Wales, Mari Bashir, because it was the 200th anniversary of Lachlan Macquarie, the regiment landing in New South Wales. This was in 2010. So the club was subsidising, but I didn't have the inclination to go to Waterloo, but they wanted any gear that was spare, and I sent my backpack to Waterloo. And that's as far as I got. Type of thing. I've done a few different, with the 73rd, different TV shows. Mike Whitney's Sydney Weekender, done 2 lots of that, one at Government House and one at Belgany Farm. We've done a doco-drama, Rogue Nation, for Channel 2 with Governor Bly's overthrow thing. We had been doing lots of Napoleonic reenactments at Lithgow for their Iron Festival. I never went to the first few, they just had the club up there doing a bit of drill and moving around like that, but once they changed the system of the club and it got big, they asked if we could do battles. So we would do a weekend up there, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and do Napoleonic battles with French reenactors, Dutch reenactors, Irish, French reenactors. Well, the leadership, with Mark and that running it, the original ones dropped out, but yeah, we had lots of good times, but now I think it's more open to a lot more reenactors, of people that want to do other eras and types to do, where I'm happy to just sit with I was happy to sit with the Civil War and the Napoleonic, the 73rd. But then they were going to do at Lithgow, they were going to do a 1630s pike and musket Dutch militia, and I said to them at the group, I said, oh good, I can come up and be a spectator. And young Gabby said, no you're not, you're going up, we'll give you the uniform. Because when you get to an age like I am, you don't want to be investing in new outfits and all that stuff, because you don't know how long you're going to. Hopefully I'll be around for a while yet, but not as active as what I used to be, I think. I think if I could do a big one, I'd like to do an anniversary Battle of Gettysburg, American Civil War. They just do it big there. They have nearly the same number that was in the actual battle. Like Waterloo, I think that was 5,000. I think it was 125th anniversary of the Gettysburg battle. They had 80 artillery for Pickett's charge, 80 artillery pieces firing for an hour. Now, you don't get that at Waterloo. Do it. Take it up. If you find something you like, just do it. It's, you know, my one grandson's done it. He done the what was it? The Eureka Stockade one at the Homestead down at Belgany, not Belgany, at the winery there, and he loved it. He's got the fire my musket at different times. My 2 sons, they done the reenactment of the 200th anniversary of Vinegar Hill. They enjoyed that thing, but it's just something you got to do. My wife's not interested in it. She does rock and roll, I do reenacting, and that's the way we go.
And that was our interview with Nat Barbuto. Next week, our correspondent Belinda has pulled another member aside for that interview. His name is Peter Luke Antonio. Stay tuned, don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell. Thank you.